What's good, everyone? Welcome back for another session as we are now into January with the 8th anniversary quickly approaching. I wanted to provide a very brief summary of, essentially the track record over the past 7 years in terms of the free-to-play stones given out during each of the anniversary celebration periods. So, a lot of this information, if not all, is based off of the Dokkan Wiki online. So, luckily they have kind of a summarized view of the stone count, distribution of free-to-play Dragon Stones. So, with that being said, it's going to incorporate all of the, breakouts of, the countdown periods with the pre-celebration logins, broken down by part 1, part 2, part 3, and EX, depending on which year the anniversary we're talking about. So, this is essentially the overview, right, of the total stone counts and the cumulative amounts per parts, essentially, right? So a couple of footnotes here. Years 1 through 4 on the Dokkan Wiki, there were only information related to global celebration. I didn't really take the time to go through the JP celebration details. I know there's been like Reddit information and stuff like that, but I wanted to summarize everything from the same source for this particular video. The other thing to note as well is these stones totals include also the top grossing that were given out during the celebration. So I don't necessarily have the complete breakout of it, but I will include the links for each of the years like celebration details. That way, if you really wanted to check the breakout and composition of it, you're more than free to check that out. But I did want to note it does include the top grossing rewards as well. Now, the last thing I do want to note is based on the information on Dokkan Wiki, the 7th year anniversary incorporated an EX period, which out of the 359 stones that you see here, 277 was based on the Dokkan All-Stars Extreme Z battle stages. So, of course, that one ran through, the full 999 stages. So they, gave out substantially more stones than before. And, with all that being said, there are certain years where they expanded out, the extension of, different parts out of the celebration. So you'll notice like years 1 and 2 really only had like a part 1 segment. 3 and 4 had up to part 2, and then starting with the 5th year, it was broken out to, 3-part series out of the anniversary period. So that is pretty much the summary of what I wanted to tell you. Now, the only reason I wanted to provide this overview is I wanted to use like a run rate, estimate, right, in terms of what I would think from a prior year cumulative standpoint, what my version of the estimate would be for the 8th year anniversary. That way we can, you guys can kind of use that as a potential resource in terms of maybe, getting a baseline in terms of what to expect in terms of, once the celebration starts, how many free-to-play stones you might potentially be able to get. So the first one is the 8th year cumulative average estimate. So I'm taking all of the years for each part and just running, essentially an average to calculate out, what I think the estimate is based off that total. So you'll notice there's a column for total and also all. I wanted to separate out the EX out of like, the countdown through part 3. So that's how this view is pretty much created. So again, with that being said, without going into too much detail, based on that cumulative calc, it's about 796 in total. If you include, the 120 for the EX period, which is more of a conservative number, you're looking at 916. Now, the 3-year average, estimate is more so just taking the past 3 years, which is a more, current year basis. Of course, the reason why is, the first year through like 4 years, you'll notice like it can kind of range quite a bit in terms of how many stones they gave out. So I wanted to use a more current baseline to estimate out. Essentially, it'll give you kind of a low-end estimate versus a high-end estimate. So the 3-year average is going to give you about 924 stones without the EX. If you add in the 120, it's about 1,044. So I guess, in summary, you can, my version of quote-unquote the estimate is anywhere from 916 stones to 1,044. And, that's probably a good baseline to think in terms of what to expect in terms of the total amount of free-to-play stones you might be able to get out of this upcoming celebration. So, again, I know, saving stones and getting ready for the anniversary, since it's obviously the biggest celebration of the year, is important as we gear toward, the rest of January and whatnot. So, along with just getting my eyeball estimate of, you know, what I would think the 8th year anniversary free-to-play stone count would be, I wanted to provide, you know, a historical overview of how many stones were given out as well. So hopefully this was kind of an interesting video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.